All day long yesterday, I was praying this story wasn't true. The way it was first reported, a 17-year-old girl named Noah Pothoven was legally euthanized in the Netherlands because she couldn't recover emotionally from rape and sexual abuse that happened when she was, I think, around 11. As someone who struggled with depression myself in my youth and who has worked on hotlines speaking to suicidal people, many of them teenagers, I consider euthanizing a teen a Nazi-level act of barbarism. I could not believe something like this had happened in a civilized country. Whenever a story seems to play too neatly into the fears and hostilities of either conservatives or leftists, I always triple check it because I know fake news is on the march. And I try to make sure the story doesn't just appear on some junk site like CNN or the New York Times, but I wait till it's made it to responsible outlets like the Wall Street Journal or Fox. Now, where things stand, as I'm speaking to you right this moment, it's unclear who killed Noah Pothoven. She was depressed, and under the law in Holland, euthanasia is allowed where suffering has become, quote, hopeless and unbearable in people as young as 12 with a parent's permission. After 16, the parent's permission is no longer needed. About 6,500 people were euthanized in the Netherlands last year. The government says only a few of these were killed for emotional reasons. Now, we know that Noah asked the government for permission to die and was turned away last year. We know that a Dutch member of parliament visited her just at the end, and it now seems possible that she starved herself to death without the government's help. I'm not sure. But whatever happened, I don't think it's too big a stretch to say that a nation that permits 12-year-olds to be euthanized is operating under certain assumptions that make the suicide of young people more acceptable, that make suicide itself more acceptable. I think the chief among those assumptions is that life ought to be happy and comfortable, and when it is not, it ceases to be worthwhile. I think that culture, the culture that embraces happiness and the end of suffering as life's chief goal, is ultimately a culture that embraces death, because many of the most important moments of life, the lifelike moments of life, aren't happy and, in fact, are kind of unbearable. I also think it's possible that the culture that killed Noah Pothoven, this culture of happiness, is the same culture that is killing Europe itself. About 80 years ago, a man named Aldous Huxley wrote a great novel about just such a culture. It was called Brave New World. And hearing about the death of Noah, I can't help thinking that Huxley was a prophet. And so my two questions are, can we defend ourselves and our culture against the lure of happiness? And should we?